What's your favorite part about living in Canada?
Well, I'm not fond of the politics in Canada here, but it is a beautiful nation. Beautiful. There is gorgeous scenery. And when it comes to Alberta, which is where we are from, it's my favorite province by far. It's not even close. But
Have you been to any other provinces?
of course I have. I live on the BC border.
Oh,
Close, I guess 15 minutes from the BC border.
Yeah.
But Alberta's just my favorite. I like the hunting up here. I just born and raised up here, right? And the landscape is just awesome. And I know it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, politically, not a big fan. Alberta's a lot better than I think every other province when it comes to politics, but I'm not overly fond of the Canadian politics.
If there is one thing you could say, like right now, if it's whether it's hunting or just something about Alberta, what would it be about Alberta that really just locks you into it?
Well, I guess the friends and family up here and the people. The people up here it's awesome to know that you've got neighbors that are willing to go through a lot to help you out.
Yeah.
And the hunting up here is fantastic too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a beautiful place to live that has great people and a lot of family up here too, right? And yeah, it's just, I only really know Alberta.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that the people are always willing to give a helping hand in any way and stuff. They're just genuine people.
Most. I shouldn't say all people. There's some people that probably wouldn't care.
Well, in what ways have people been willing to give a helping hand in your life? Just the neighbors and stuff.
Well, so for example, when Dad first got the brain tumor, there was a silent auction that was held by the community, the Bonanza Hall, and just to raise money for us, right?
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And I don't know exactly how to go about with thanking everybody other than just saying thanks to everybody that was involved in that.
You raised a lot of money for that. I remember that. That was quite something. And
that was awesome.
And just even recently, there was someone who was involved in an accident just down the road here and has been in a coma for a couple months now. And there's a fundraiser for him.
Yeah, there's going to be like a auction going on at the Fireman's Dance, and there's side-by-side shotgun, like a coach gun, but it's chambered in a 20 gauge.
Nice.
And that one's going to be getting auctioned off. I'd imagine that gun was bought for maybe $1,200, and it's probably going to be sold tonight for probably around $5,000. There's a lot of people that are good buddies with that guy, including me. I know him, and I played guitar a little bit with him.
Yeah.
So I know him personally a little bit. Awesome guy. Sucks that it happened to him, but hopefully this money can be used to help him out and
help his family
out.
And yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's one thing it's really good about living in a good community is having community support, having neighbors who are willing to help you out in time of need, to watch over your place if you're gone, and to, especially when life gets you down or when something like that happens, they're there to help you and pick you up.
Yeah, that's a big part of being a part of a community is like, as being around people like that is always good. And there's always going to be bad apples.
Yeah,
there's always bad apples in every single community. But for the most part, I get along with most of everybody just fine. But I was going to ask you, what's your favorite part about living in Canada? And then Alberta, and then pretty much the exact same questions that you asked me.
Yeah, mostly it's the same of what you said there. One thing, I have a bit of more knowledge of outside of living in Alberta. I used to live in Wisconsin. I was born in Wisconsin, actually. And there, the people are great. Like, I know there's people listening here that are from Wisconsin, so you guys are great. But there's too many people for my liking, for one. Wisconsin is about not quite half the size of Alberta, and it has 1 million more people or something like that.
Yeah,
and so
that's a lot.
They're crammed in, especially the southern part is where I was from. There's a lot of people. Like, it's way too many people for my liking. And so with that, you don't get to know people. Like, up here, we're kind of remote. Like, there's not many people here. The nearest town is a town of 12,000 people or something like that. And we live in a community, not very many people. And so it's especially compared to southern Alberta or Ontario or whatever. But so that's really nice. There's not as many people. You don't have the artificial lights. So you can see the northern lights. I know I was talking to a few guys yesterday, and they were talking about living in the city and in town and stuff like that, and never see the northern lights. They'll be out
until last night.
Yeah,
last night was beautiful,
just gorgeous. Yeah. And so there's things like that are great. The community's great. Canada is, as a whole, I really like Canada as a country. I think it's great. The last 10 years have been going downhill pretty steadily for Canada.
Well, when it comes to the politics of it, it's not ideal for me, but it could be a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a country that's persecuting people, right? Yeah. And it's not really doing that. It's just there's just other things involved that it's just right. But
yeah, well, we have it pretty good. You think about it. We still have free speech. We still can carry guns. We can still hunt. We can do all these different things. We can still vote. This is something that most people don't have the liberty to do.
Yeah.
And we can still do that. So we have it quite well. I mean, we still have jobs. We still can make money, even though half of it goes to government. But it's good. And I think God has blessed Canada, and it's truly a blessing to live in Canada. But yeah, how far have you wandered from this area?
From this area, the furthest I've gone, went to Manitoba for one of my uncle and aunt's weddings years ago when I was just a little kid. Then when I was like a baby, I went to Prince Rupert.
Okay.
And then just this couple of years ago, I went down to southern Alberta. I don't venture far from here.
Yeah.
I don't even have a passport yet, right?
Yeah. You're like a grizzly bear that just stays in one area.
I don't tend to wander very much. One thing I would like to do though is I would like to travel and see places. I would love to go to Africa or South America. I'd love to visit the States, especially the States, right? And I don't know, just stuff like that. Go on hunting adventures, or go just to see places and explore, right?
Yeah. If there was one place that you would really want to go, if you could go and plan a trip anywhere, where would you go right now?
Outside of North America, or can it be inside?
It can be inside. Let's just say it has to be outside 1,000 kilometers.
Oh, great question. I want to go down to Georgia, Texas.
What's down there?
I don't know, just different people.
Yeah. The culture is different.
The culture is definitely different. I heard a lot from Dustin about Georgia when he went down there.
Yeah.
And it's just cool, like communities gathering. Well, the community, I think he was mostly staying in there when he was down there for his sister's wedding.
Yeah.
My cousin's wedding was a dry community that was a very solid Christian environment there. But
no, the dry community, what is that exactly?
I think no alcohol.
No alcohol, no drugs.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But regardless, it's just kind of cool to hear about those kind of places. But when it comes to outside of North America, I'd just love to go down to South America.
What's there?
Just cool places.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Those ancient looking pyramids in like Peru and stuff like that. That would be cool to see.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
And the Amazon rainforest. Since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated with some of the animals and stuff like that are
wild.
Just different, like sloths. The most boring one, right? But no, those are just fascinating themselves. They like move so slow that they grow mold on them or something like that. Like,
yeah. Did you about like me? Did you see the video? It's on social media. This guy, he goes down to the Amazon rainforest and he grabs like very poisonous animals, or he's like, yeah, here's a swamp puppy, and it's like
just like and yoink stuff and like boob stuff.
Here's a swamp puppy, and it's a alligator, and he just boinks it
and
in
he's
the nose.
Like in search of a 20-foot anaconda.
Like, where's that 20-foot python?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's some wild things down there.
Yeah, I think it's on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was listening to an episode one time about this guy. He kind of lives down there a little bit in a treehouse for the most part, I think. But he was talking about
he lives in a treehouse.
Well, they built one or something, and he lived in it or something. Yeah. Like that. I don't remember exactly how that went, but one thing that fascinated me with that podcast episode is he was talking a lot about snakes, anacondas, and people were Joe Rogan was asking like, so is there like 20-foot snakes down there? He's like, man, there's bigger. There's bigger than that. Like the longest one I ever caught was like, I think 18 or 20 feet or something. Like I think it was 18 feet or something like that. But he said that there is some that down there that are just bigger. He allegedly jumped onto one, and when he wrapped his arms around it and his chest was like laying on its back, he couldn't touch his fingers on the other side. That's how big around it was. And it could have just eaten, but still, he's like, that anaconda, he figures, is like 30 feet.
That's big
crazy.
snake.
That is crazy.
And
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
That guy could just be making it up, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure.
I know.
That's just kind of interesting to hear.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what does he have to gain from lions or that?
No, but you think about, you think about, other than bragging rights, I got to climb on top of an anaconda and try hugging it. but I remember when I was probably 7 or 8, my family was talking about going and doing missions in Colombia. And I remember I knew that there was snakes down there. I knew there was anacondas, and I was terrified of it. I was like, I'm going to get eaten by a snake, because those things, they'll just swallow you whole. I think I heard of a story of a woman being swallowed by one of those things, and they killed it, and then they cut her out of it. But you can see there's a big lump of someone in there. Like,
yeah,
it's terrifying.
They're crazy.
You know what I mean? We're used to the biggest snake we have are like
garter snakes that are, well, we caught the biggest one I've ever seen up here.
That's a pretty decent size. It's small, but it's decent.
Well, that's still a big snake for up here.
2.5 feet long?
It was longer than that.
No,
that thing was probably 3 feet.
No, I don't think so. We got
pictures of it.
But it wasn't big compared to snakes.
It wasn't like a giant.
It wasn't rattle.
No, it is. Which I've heard that there's been rattlesnakes actually along the Peace River somewhere.
I've also heard someone saw a rattlesnake in Dawson Creek.
Really?
Yeah. They think it climbed in to a vehicle or something like that.
What's with all these exotic creatures coming up north here? Like, we live well, how many hours do you think we are away from the territories per se?
Oh, I don't know.
10 probably.
Probably at least 10 hours.
Probably around 10. Well, high level is, I think, I want to say 2 or 3 hours away from the territories.
Yeah, because
and high level is only a 6-hour drive.
We say we're from northern Alberta, but we're pretty much central Alberta, really. Like we're just
it's such a big province, but
it's
everybody considers us to be northern Alberta, right?
There's not much past us, really.
No.
There's
the
Peace
odd
River,
couple towns.
Yeah, Peace River, Fairview.
Peace River's not even really north; it's more west.
Yeah,
I mean east. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a little north, but not really. Like you just go straight north from here, and there's just nothing.
Yeah.
Like hardly.
It's just
anything.
bush.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's so remote.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because in Silver Valley there's a raccoon that was up there. Like, I don't know how he got up there, but he was up there.
Yeah.
And it was that Pastor Mike from the Silver Valley Gospel Chapel there had on his porch eating the cat food or something. Like,
you don't want raccoons.
Get up here?
Raccoons are horrible little creatures.
And then the skunks too. Like the last few years, I've been noticing so many skunks coming up here. As well.
Dead skunks along the highway. They get hit on the highway all the time.
Yeah, like the one summer I seen like, I don't know, 8 of them.
Yeah.
Like, just crazy.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a porcupine up here?
Yes, I have.
One up here.
I've seen a couple up here.
Okay.
But not like a crazy amount. There's always been porcupines up here as far as I can recall. But they're just very rare. Yeah. Whereas you go down south to southern Alberta, they're everywhere. They are everywhere.
Yeah, you beat one with a stick, didn't you?
No, but I know people who have.
The only time I seen a porcupine was up in... how many hours north of Fort Nelson, but we were up at a lake when I was like 8 years old, hunting moose and fishing and stuff, and there was a porcupine just sitting on a tree stump. I remember seeing it and thought that was pretty cool, but yeah, we don't.
They're cool, but they're slow. They're like the Alberta sloths.
Yeah. Like, oh man, but they're mean. If you get like a dog fighting them.
Oh, you know what's even meaner though? Those groundhogs.
Yeah,
we got them kind of roaming around here, or woodchucks, whatever you want to call them. Man, they are mean. They'll click at you. I had one attack. So I run grader, and I had one attack my grader tire while I was working in it. Like, it was like, what on earth? He was just mean. I hopped out, and I took a video of this little guy, and he's just clicking at me, standing on his hind legs, just like looking at me with the most crazy eyes, like he wanted to kill me. I was like, oh boy, you take her easy, buddy. So I kicked some rocks at him and ran off the road so I could continue working. But he attacked the grader tire.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah. Mean little buggers.
Yeah.
Like little man syndrome or something. I saw one while I was cutting hay, and it was just sitting next to some bales in the field, and I didn't know what it was. I was like 15, never saw one in my life. I was like, what? Like, what is that? So I got out and chased it around a bit. But that's the only time I remember. No, I did see another one. It was under some fence posts, and then my brother's dog killed it a few days later. My brother has a little blue heeler, and it's like 20 pounds, this blue heeler. It's like a mini blue heeler, and it fought like a groundhog the same size and killed it. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Those blue heelers, they're good dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really energetic though.
Yeah, they are, but they're quite loyal though.
Oh yeah.
They hang around and they listen well.
Yeah, I have 3 blue heelers. They're blue heeler border collie crosses, and trained them for cattle work. And
Well, what's Jade?
Jade's half and half. Jasper
okay.
would be mostly border collie with a bit of heeler. Same with Macy. Macy's half and half too, I think, actually. But they train them for cattle work, but we didn't really like, they were a little too hard on the cows. Chased a little harder. It just wasn't our style of working cows. But now we have them, and they're so loyal. I remember one time we wanted to test Jade's loyalty, so my brother acted like he was grabbing me to take me to the ground and start like hitting me, and I told Jade, get him, and she jumped up and nipped him in the side of the cheek, and I was like, okay,
that's over. Yeah,
that's over. I was like, good to know.
That's all we needed.
If I ever get mugged or whatever,
Yeah,
just have my dog with me and I'm good to go.
Yeah, good dog right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Tika will do that once in a while.
She's a German Shepherd.
She's a German Shepherd, and she looks sweet because her ears are buggered up a little bit, so they don't point straight up like a normal German Shepherd. But she's a purebred German Shepherd,
yeah,
regardless. And oh boy, she's an awesome dog, the best squirrel dog in the world. She will not leave a tree after she trees a squirrel until that thing's dead.
Yeah, it's pretty funny watching those things.
But yeah, I just pretended just to be an idiot kind of thing, and I was just trying to wrestle.
You don't have to pretend.
But just like trying to wrestle around with this dog, and she jumped up. I think I was trying to push Amber around a little bit, just like faking it.
Yeah.
And then she jumped up and grabbed my shoulder, like the sweater, on my shoulder, and just dragged me to the ground. I was like,
wow.
Man alive. She's
got
some very power behind her.
Very protective too. Yeah, I remember when we were growing up, we had a not border collie. It was a Saint Bernard, and her name was Emily, and she was dumber than a rock, like just dumb.
But she was loyal.
She was protective. So my little brother, when we first moved back, we got this dog, and Royden would have been 2 years old, I think. And we had the dugout out there, and it was open, no fence around it. And we would watch this dog go next to Royden. She would stand between Royden and the dugout and just lead him away from the dugout. And another time, somehow Royden, I think my parents were gone and we were being negligent and weren't watching him. And he walked up to Tony and Amy's place. And the dog followed him all the way up, stood at the steps while he went into the house. And then when you came and got him, she called. It was like, hey, Royden's here. And yeah, she followed him all the way there. But I remember this dog. She would get super excited when she see you. So I came out of the shop one day after working with the tractor, and she was at the parking lot, which was about 75 yards, 80 yards away. And she saw me, and she came ripping towards me, and her brakes don't work right. So she couldn't get stopped and just bailed into my legs. And she's like 150 pounds. And then I was like moaning and groaning, trying to get up, but she got quicker than me and just slobbered all over me. I couldn't get her off of me. Just licking. But
they'll get you.
Yeah.
Them big dogs, they can't stop on a dime, man. They're like big trucks. Like that just reminds me of my Great Pyrenees when she took me out multiple times, especially during the wintertime. I just like, okay, I don't want the dogs to be all over me. I just want to go to the garage and just hang out. I'll like open the door on the house and just bolt for the shop. And she would see me and she would chase after me. And especially during the wintertime when it was slippery, she would just like go so fast, and then she'd try and stop and couldn't, and then just slide on the ice and just take me out. And it happened so many times. I had to like just like very, very calmly walk out, otherwise she would chase me down.
Oh,
just to play, right?
Yeah, they're just playing, and they don't realize they actually hurt.
Yeah, but those dogs like that, especially those big breeds, they're such protective, loyal animals. Like Josie, our old Great Pyrenees, that dog was excellent. She kept the coyotes away very well, and she got in a couple fights with them too.
Yeah.
And any dog that she didn't know, really, that would try and cross over or come onto our land, whether it was a wild dog like a coyote or a wolf, or a domestic dog, she would beat the living crap out of that thing, and it wouldn't come back, right? She was very good with dogs that she knew. Yeah. And if she didn't know a dog, you'd have to like get them buddy, right?
Yeah, and that's good to have in a dog. I even remember Emily, she would, when there was a new dog come around, she would not like it. She'd be very hesitant and like watch it very closely. But then Royden came walking, and this dog got close to Royden, and that Emily, she jumped on that thing. It was a big dog. I don't know what it was exactly. Could have been a bull. Oh man, what were those ones?
A Rottie?
Maybe whatever
Or
it was,
a Mastiff.
but could have been a Mastiff. She grabbed that thing and like had it by the neck right away, like just took that thing down.
I know the dog you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe. And she took that thing down because Royden got close to it. She was very hesitant with it around us, but as soon as Royden, who was 2 at the time, got close to it, she had none of it.
Well, and this the thing is, I mean, a lot of when it comes to these breeds that get a bad rep, a lot of it does have to do with ownership.
Yep.
But also the most known attacks are also from these breeds too, whether they have good owners or bad owners.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not talking about Rotties. I'm talking more pit bulls.
Yeah, but right. Yep.
Still, I know some amazing pit bulls, and I love those dogs, but I don't think I could personally own one. And I have nothing against people that do. Nothing against that. There's just so many stats out there where it's like I don't trust that.
Most attacks come from them. Right? I've heard stories of good owners with these dogs that are very good owners. They don't abuse the dog, nothing. The dog just turns on him and just kills him. I've heard there was a story a couple years ago about that. And so yeah, you gotta be careful with your dog breed. You gotta train it. Training is a big thing, but some of them things are just bred to be mean.
Yeah, and it's weird how that works, and it's sad too.
Yeah,
because like it'd be nice if all dogs were man's best friend.
Yeah,
but that's just the thing. And I really like dogs. They're my favorite animal, anyways.
Yeah.
Just because they're loyal and awesome to have around.
Yeah,
and like good security systems too. And it always sucks to lose them, eh?
Yeah, I just like having dogs around, just hanging out, like follow you around or whatever. Just nice to have something along if you're just alone or whatever. Just bring a dog with you shed hunting.
When you go shed hunting, for example, it's always nice to have a dog there if you're going by yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about it, because sometimes they'll just run off and find a shed, bring it to you, or they'll just hang out with you, and it's like just nice, calm. You guys don't you don't even have to talk to the thing, and it's just.
My brother,
peaceful, eh? And then you have a buddy there that's gonna keep the bears away or whatever, right?
My brother has what is that dog? I can't remember. It's kind of an offshoot of what Josie was there. Great Pyrenees offshoot. It's bigger than a Great Pyrenees, but
he's a big dog.
He does all Trevor's shed hunting for him. He just brings him right to Trevor's front door and lays him out and like, hey, look what I got, and like tons of sheds. One time he pulled a whole elk carcass into his yard. Out of the blue.
Like, where did you get that?
and he was like, okay. And yeah, it was from who knows where, but this dog will just wander all over the place on our property. It's lots of 950 acres there, and he just wander around shed hunting.
And that's funny.
That's probably why I don't find any sheds on there, is he gets them first.
Yeah, those Great Pyrenees, they just idle too. Like, it's not like they're running around. They're just walking around, just hanging out, going for a stroll. Oh, there's a shed.
Yeah. Well, one time I saw this dog when we were wintering our cows down next to my brother's place. And I have this cow named Clover. I raised her up when she was a calf, and I gave her barley and oats and stuff like that to calm her down.
Eat her?
At some point I might, but for right now she's only 6, so she's got a few more years left. But anyways, I saw her laying in the straw. It was kind of cold out, and this dog would always hang out with this herd of cows, just because it's a herd dog is what it is, really. Just stays near, keeps the coyotes away. And I saw him cuddled up right between the front legs and the back leg, just cuddled right next to Clover, and I was like, that's pretty cute, actually. I'm not much for that, but when I see him, I'm like, aw.
It's like, oh boy, yeah, what on earth? That's just cute. Like, that's like kind of, we used to have a backyard dog. It wasn't a dog at all. It was actually a rabbit. We named him Loppy. And it was a big bunny. He had lop ears, and I was really small at the time. When I pick up that rabbit, Dustin has a picture on his phone of me holding this rabbit, and that thing's like almost as big as me. But that thing, we considered him our backyard dog, and he'd just go and hang out with the cats and whatever. And he's bigger than the cats, right? He's just a big bunny. He just hang out with the cats. The dogs would try and chase him, but he always ran under their shed so that they couldn't get him. It's like, man, I want to get another lop-eared rabbit. It's because the dogs I have now, they'd love them. Yeah, they wouldn't really chase him around. Like, my dogs cut up with the cats, except for the one cat. They always like to chase him for some reason. It's kind of funny, but
yeah, I don't know. Animals they're fun. They can be really dumb, but at least they have enough intelligence that they're manageable.
It's like moose. You look at a moose and you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, they look like camel deer hybrids. Like, they're just weird looking,
Dumb.
and they're dumb usually, but they're so cool. It's
Yeah.
like you see God's handiwork in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, they are such a cool creature when you actually dig down deep and look at it.
Yeah.
And they can sustain, give you protein.
Yeah.
They're good to have around too. Sometimes they can be a little bit of a pest. I've had them come into the yard. I've had them chase me before. But like, animals are just, they're just something about animals. Like, seeing them around is just awesome. So you see God's handiwork in it, eh?
Yeah. Same with like, I think it's any animals are like that, but cows are somewhat like that. I got 500 of them, so calving them out every year, you either really hate them or you just really like them. It's never between that. And
you hate them during February, but then you love them during like July and June.
July, yeah. But yeah, I just like, we're calving out right now, and so you go out there and there's just these fresh little baby cows that are just cuddled up next to their cows, or you can just grab them and pet them, and they're just like adorable.
Yeah,
adorable.
And then a few months goes by and it's like, ugh.
Well, they turn into like just hairy
raging beasts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's cool, but one thing we're starting to get more of up here too, they're slowly coming into our area, is wild hogs.
That's what I've heard. I've also heard too, somebody shooting one.
Yeah.
That wasn't too far from here, but I don't know for sure if that actually did happen or not. But that is something crazy. I know the states have them bad.
Well,
I never thought I'd see Alberta really getting them bad.
Well, they originated in Florida, as far as I know, and they've slowly just been working their way up. And so they've been, I think they've been spotted in all 48 states. So the lower 48.
Yeah.
And now as far as I know, Alberta has a program to try and contain it, but they're going to get here.
Well, I mean, I see any wild hog, I'm shooting them.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like, I think they basically say shoot on sight.
They are bad. Yeah. Bad for environments.
I wish we had the freedom here to load up a helicopter with AR-15s and just find groups of them and just start shooting like they do in Texas.
But no, they're banned now, so thank you, Trudeau.
Yeah, exactly. But that would be a bucket list. Like, you want to go to Texas? Go to Texas and do that.
I want to get on one with a 50. I've seen those like videos where they're in Humvees or whatever overnight, and they're just like night vision shooting these pigs with like miniguns and like,
can you imagine
30 caliber belt feds, like just crazy.
Can you imagine getting in a helicopter with a minigun?
That'd be insane.
Oh. Or even like what you just said, using night vision with like 22s.
Yeah, or these guys like down in Texas, they're running like these AR-15s and these belt-fed machine guns shooting down these hogs, and it's like, man,
that's the way to do it.
That looks so much fun.
You can pay to do it.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money though.
Yeah, but bucket list.
I can imagine that the ammo, that'd be so expensive.
Yeah, they make a mess though. Those things, they come into your yard and stuff and dig holes, and they
destroy things.
They're like pigs, but they're loose.
Yeah.
And so
running wild pigs, right?
I can't remember how they started, but they originated in Florida, and they were a mutt. Basically, they're mixed.
They're just like the camels in Australia.
Yeah,
camels in Australia. I never knew about that until I started seeing YouTube videos. Guy driving around and taking care of these camels. Like,
so how did those ones start? I think they weren't. They didn't originate there.
No, they did not. But I have no idea how that started. But it's just crazy. There's this guy. It's his job to go around and shoot these camels because they are an invasive species.
Yeah,
there, and he shoots like 200 and some a day because they are so bad for the environment down. I don't know exactly what all it entails down there. Yeah, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, Australia is another wild place too, though. The interior of Australia.
Okay, so one thing that I do not like is spiders.
Oh, yeah.
So small spiders, okay, whatever. But big spiders, tarantulas, or like those Goliath bird eaters, those spiders, or those camels, those sand camel spiders or whatever. And the like those are creepy. I do not like that, and I don't know. I don't know what the movie is, but I remember my parents watching a movie when I was a kid, and I don't think they realized how much it actually haunted me. But it was like a movie about a giant spider that ate humans. Like, it'd like wrap them up in its web.
Wait,
and
that was Lord of the Rings.
No.
Well, it did that in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I never actually watched Lord of the Rings all the way through.
Shame on you.
But regardless, Well, I just don't care
No,
too
we
much
gotta.
about
This
it.
is enough. I gotta end this podcast. You
Oh
gotta
yeah,
listen to Lord of
no,
the Rings.
I just don't care
No.
enough about Lord of the Rings.
It's great. You gotta go watch the extended version of Lord of the Rings all the way through.
But no, this was a different movie. Like it was about just a spider, like a big spider that was big. Like it's just
That's Lord of the Rings.
no, it's not Lord of the Rings.
I don't know.
But I think it's called Arachnid or something like that. It's like a scary movie or something. But regardless, that terrified me when I was a kid, and now I hate big spiders.
Oh, I know. It's
like I do not care to see them at all. And then you were telling me I got to be careful about you.
Yeah.
Because you were telling me about a prank that you got pranked by, and now you're trying to do it on other people. You do it. You're not getting
I'll get
me.
you at some point.
No, you won't.
Yeah. Okay. So I should tell that story. I was hanging out at the church when I had my broken leg, and up in my pastor's office, I saw this little box in the corner of his office, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And being Snoopy, I grabbed it, I opened it, and this spider started crawling out of it, and I was like, whoa! And I kind
How
of
big was the spider?
It was about as big as the palm of my hand.
Like a tarantula.
Kind of, yeah.
Or something.
And so I immediately shut it, and I just stood back a bit and sat there looking at it for a bit, and I was processing what I just saw, and I decided to use Google Lens, and I grabbed it, and I took a picture of the box, and then it came up. It was a spider prank. And so then I told my pastor, and he laughed and laughed and laughed. He bought it just for that. He bought it for the junior youth to get the junior youth with it. And then he put it down in the kitchen for the ladies who were cooking and making the coffee and stuff too.
How rude, eh?
It was hilarious. And so, but before that, I seen he put it down there, and I had young adults hosted there a month ago. And so I put the tea out and everything, and it looks like a little tea box is what it looks like. And I put it right next to all the tea bags and everything. And I got like 3 or 4 people with it. It was hilarious every time because they're like, whoa, and jump back. And so it was pretty funny. I really enjoyed doing that. But yeah, it was horrible. It looks real, and then what happens is when you open it, it comes right up on your fingers.
So, that reminds me of that day during that young adults. You were very persistent that I take tea instead of coffee. I didn't take the tea. I went for the coffee. But man, I'm glad I did. And now when I'm around you, whenever you tell me to go and get
I'm not going to tell you to do it.
I am not.
I'm not going
to ever drink tea around you.
I'll get you with it sometime. But
no, you're not.
But I'm gonna buy a box and just put it here just to keep. But
I'm not gonna snoop around. The only thing I'm gonna snoop around with is your guitar.
Okay, well that sounds good to me. But yeah, I don't know.
Nice guitar.
Yeah, spiders have always been something that always gets me. Like I always hated daddy long legs when I was growing up, but they're just useless.
Those little guys, like they're kind of weird looking.
But
they look
fun.
like little aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, okay, so one thing I don't like while we're fencing, I don't know what they call them, but they live in fence posts.
Those great big fat sack.
Yeah,
spiders.
they have sacks.
It's gross.
And they don't have some of the sacks. I know my mom popped a spider. Or there was a spider. She stepped on it and it had like a whole bunch of little baby spiders in it. In the sack. But these ones just have pus or something like in the sack. So like every time I see them, I just smash them with a hammer, and they're just disgusting spiders. Just disgusting.
Like weird.
Why do those things have to exist?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Those might be those little funnel webs, the things that make the spiders that make those little funnel webs.
Yeah, I think so.
Fields,
Yep.
Eh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what they are. But yeah, they're just disgusting. Yeah.
Bugs in general, like I'm not fond of bugs, especially those giant water beetles with the big pinchers on them. Yeah, and once in a while during the summertime, they fly to the light, eh? They'll come to my shop light, and they'll land in front of the shop. Me and Buddy one time, we took like a pair of pliers, and we were just like feeling this thing out. We did not want to touch it because we saw the pinchers it had. And then we put a wrench up to it when we picked it up with the pliers. Grabbed onto that wrench, and we had to put in some effort to actually get that wrench out of its claws. Those things pinch hard. And I'm not, they're like that big. I don't know.
3 inches big. Yeah.
Just big beetles.
Just
like
ugly.
Gross.
I know. They're just, I don't know why they have to exist. There's probably a purpose for them, but
their shells are so hard too. They're hard to kill.
Yeah.
But they mostly swim in the water, eh? So, and I like to swim in dugouts, but when I get close to the bank, I run.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, some of those weird animals. That's why some of these things, like I saw a video of someone, I think it was, I don't know where it was, but in Florida, they'll have like just snakes or weird spiders in their front porch all the time or whatever. And I'm just like, this is why I live where the air hurts my face for 6 months of the year.
That's why we live here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we don't have to deal with those weird little creepy crawlies. We get mice.
Yeah. I don't mind mice.
Honestly,
I mean,
mice
they're
are kind
annoying,
of cute. So generally, when I catch them in my yard, I try and take care of business. But when I'm up in the bush and running grader and I see a mouse just like coming out of the snow that I just plowed, like I will run out of the grader, grab it, and hold it in my hand, and just for a second, the little thing's so cute, it's trying to bite through my glove, and it can't do it, and I'm like, aw, and then I just release him because he's not going to hurt anything.
Show
up there.
mercy.
He's like way in the bush, right?
You know, there's a Bible verse about that. Hey, it says, "To the merciful, He shows mercy."
Amen.
So that's what you were doing right there. It's being merciful.
Have you done that for mice? Showed them mercy?
I don't think I've ever showed mercy to mice.
Oh, Devin, come on,
I have a lot
man.
of stories. Okay, so one time, I'm not going to tell stories of what I've done to mice because I'd get canceled if I did that. But there was one time when I was living in this trailer house. This is a few years ago. You were there, and we were gonna watch The Passion of the Christ. And so we're like, hey, you know what? It'd be nice to have nachos. Nachos would be really tasty right now. So I didn't have a big enough microwave to make nachos with microwave. So I'm like, hey, we'll just get this big pan. We'll put corn chips and we'll put cheese and jalapenos on it. So I did that, and then I put it in my oven. And all of a sudden, it was like my oven was smoking, and there was a horrible, horrible scent. Just awful scent. And so I quickly shut it off. I was like, what is that? And the only thing
that was disgusting.
It was so
I
bad.
couldn't come into the house. That was so gross.
The only thing I could think of is there was mice in there. That's because I did find mice poop and every stuff all around, but just disgusting. So we opened all the windows, turned the fan on, like just went outside for like, I think it was like half an hour until the scent was gone enough that we could come back in. But the only way I could get rid of it, I opened that oven all the way up and tried to find where the mice were. Couldn't find them. And so what I did then is I opened all my windows up. I put it on self-clean mode, and so it gets like really hot, and just let it smoke.
Oh,
It was, and I went outside and just let it. Well, I kept an eye on it because I'm like, just in case it starts a fire or something like that, but it didn't, and just let it go, and it cleaned itself.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't use that oven again.
Yeah, well, I don't
nasty.
I don't live there anymore, and there's a couple that
yeah,
lived
your
there
brother lives there, eh?
Yeah.
Your little brother.
Just let him get whatever that has.
Your brother at this
funny.
point. That is nasty.
Yeah, that was the most disgusting encounter I have had with mice. But there was mice all over that house. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of. That house did have a nostalgic feel into it, but the mice problem, yeah,
it was pretty bad.
Nasty, but that's a nice yard over there too.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah,
like and right next to the highway kind of sucked, but like the dugout and keeping it mowed around there, that's nice actually.
Yeah,
it
was nice. Yeah, you know, we were talking earlier about where you'd go outside of America, and so I've been to a few places. I used to live in Wisconsin.
Where would you go?
Where would I go?
Outside of North America.
Outside of North America. So yeah, I've visited quite a few states and stuff. I've been to Vancouver Island and Texas and all those places. But if I was to go outside of North America, I think, oh man, there's a few different places I'd like to go. I think Turkey would be really awesome to go explore Turkey. I think Greece, go to Athens. I think going to Israel. Israel would probably be the top of the list.
Israel would be a sweet place to go. And
I would love to go and follow Christ's steps. Like you can literally go where Christ went. You can go to Golgotha where he was crucified. And it's interesting. I was listening to a story, I think this was on that book by Joby Martin called Anything is Possible. And it's basically, that book is a 2-part book. It's If the Tomb is Empty, Anything is Possible was the book's titles. And he talked about when he went to Golgotha, and he was like, man, this seems so wrong. It's literally a bus stop is what it is. And he was like, this seems so wrong. But it was actually where Christ was crucified was where there was a lot of traffic. And so people would have been walking by mocking him and stuff. So you got to see that and literally see where Christ was crucified. And there's little holes in the ground. They have a little cross there and everything, I think, for memorial. But you also got to see the tomb where they think Jesus was buried.
They don't know.
Know for sure. They just have it. But as far as I know, they don't think it actually is. I think it was Constantine's mom Emperor Constantine told his mother to go and find all the places where Jesus was. And she's like, oh, that's where he was buried. But most likely not. So anyways, when he was there, he met this man. And he said he was tearing up while he was in there. It was just so powerful just for him just to be where Christ was. But he's met this man from somewhere, maybe Africa or something like that. And this man was like, are you here because of Jesus of Nazareth as well? And he said yes. And so he got to bond with a brother of Christ in that moment
Isn't
about
that
the
cool,
empty
eh?
tomb of Christ. Yeah. And so that obviously that probably won't happen, but just going and following Christ's footsteps and
Yeah,
just seeing the crowd. Okay, so you can go to like the Mount of Olives and all that. You can go to where is it? The gates of hell, where they say what is that mountain called?
that's Mount Hermon.
Yeah, you can go there. And I know we were going through the Gospel of John at church, and it was really cool because my pastor went there, and so he had pictures. And so when he was talking about it,
I remember seeing that. Like that is cool.
it makes it, you can visualize that.
Yeah.
And so I would just love to go there to be able to visualize everything Christ went through.
Visualize what we read in the Bible, right?
Yep.
Like that is a cool thing.
It's a real thing. It really took place.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And historically, spiritually, there's just too much evidence to say that it's not. And like, yeah, following Jesus's footsteps in Israel, that'd be something, eh?
Yep.
And just imagine being there though when he was walking.
Yep.
Walking among his disciples. Like, just imagine being there.
Imagine being one of the 500 that saw him
after the resurrection. Yeah, that would be crazy.
If there was a time to be alive, I mean, okay, yes.
There was definitely some bad things that were happening back then, like persecution. But...
I think we live on the right side of history today. Like, we have it really good compared to what they had it back then.
Well, because we got so much historical evidence, and we also have life, like a way longer life expectancy, right? Just stuff like that. But
I think about it, so I would love to go, if there was a time in history to be alive, or if we could go back in time, I think it would be awesome to go back then. But I think that we live in a good time to be alive. Like, we're on the right side of history right now. Things are good. We got freedom and everything.
Would you not go back to the Garden of Eden and strangle the snake? Excellent question, right?
That's a good question.
Just asking.
Okay, but that's a hypothetical, because can you even, like, you can't go back in time, so.
No, but like, if you could.
I don't know, because it was always, obviously, the God's plan came to place throughout, even through that. And so for me to step in and play God, I just don't know if that's...
No. Okay, you made the right choice there.
But here's another question. So we're getting off track here a little bit.
Yes, of course we are, but this podcast episode was just us talking, really.
Exactly. So here's the question for you.
What's that?
If you could go back to what year was it? I think it was 1880, late 1880s, 1890s, when Hitler was a baby. Would you kill him?
No, you're pulling the Kyle Thompson question.
Well, just a good question. I don't know if I ever asked you this. Would
I kill him?
Yeah.
If I knew I was saving 6 million people's lives.
Over 6 million people.
Over 6 million people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd kill him.
I think it's pretty easy. It's just like, well, is the greater good for humanity. Yeah. Now,
baby Hitler, goodbye. Yes, I know.
Just
okay. But you're also killing a child. But then you hear, when it comes to this question, you're just gonna pull the Kyle Thompson and just say, nope, you can't change any of the rules.
Yeah,
you can't do this. You can't do that.
Just gotta go back.
Yeah, it's
easy.
If I had my choice in it, I wouldn't. But I know how this question's supposed to be, and so yes, I would, because everything's gonna just turn out the same if he lives.
Well, okay, so here's the problem, though. If it wasn't for Hitler, if Hitler wasn't around, I think communism and all what happened there would have actually been a more slow gang, and it would have actually taken over.
Communism would have been bigger, I think.
Yeah,
no, I think it would have been bigger.
Yeah, totally.
Because fascism was Hitler's thing. Yeah. It's kind of both, I guess. But fascism's on the far, far, far right.
Yeah.
And then communism's on the far, 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 far left. But it somehow is like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Or like a government can be so evil that it's like feels like it's both.
Yeah.
Stalin was even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Stalin,
and no one caught it, really.
More. Well, it's because he killed his own people inside his own country. Yeah. Whereas Hitler, he was eliminating a race. Yeah. Which, evil, yes. But Stalin, he was killing his own people. Yeah. And the Soviets were the masters of torture. They could keep people alive and make them endure it.
Yeah.
Horrible stuff.
I started listening to this book. I'm not near far enough into it really to give an analysis of it, but it's called Live Not by Lies, and it's off of the book, The Gulag Archipelago. And I really want to listen to that book too, or read it. It's like, I think it's a 20-hour book. It's a big book, but basically talks about from the time of, what was it? When did that all start? It was like 19 something, can't remember. But anyways, it just goes through all that and the ways they tortured people and the ways in which they would. I think we talked about this at Bible study with Dustin.
Yeah,
and
we
you brought
talked a
this
little
up.
bit with Dustin about
Yeah,
that.
I don't have the knowledge of it to talk too much about it, but it was pretty wild some of the stories I heard. But yeah, so now my thing is with killing baby Hitler, would it be worse now if I killed baby Hitler? Or like what would have happened? Because you're changing time, right? So, like, what if?
This is your question, not mine.
I know but that's something I had to wrestle with. Like, yes, in theory, I would kill baby Hitler, but what would happen if I kill baby Hitler?
All you can do is find out, and then when you come back to this time, you just go back in time and decide what's best. I guess.
So what you do is you go back in time, you kill baby Hitler, and then because you can only go back in time, obviously to his birth, you can't go anywhere else in his timeline. So you go back in time, kill baby Hitler. You come back, realize it's a lot worse. Then you go back in time again, punch yourself in the face who's about to kill baby Hitler, stop him from doing it, and you just save the timeline.
Yes.
Exactly. See, yeah.
This time travel stuff is getting me all confused.
It's a crazy episode.
This was quite the episode, honestly, though. We went from dogs to spiders to baby Hitler. Like,
yeah, it's pretty
and
crazy.
following Jesus' footsteps. But, I mean, it is 7:30 now, and you do have cows to check.
It is 7:30, isn't it? So big
we're
question
gonna go
here.
check cows.
One thing, we'll just end with this. Since we started with this, there's one place you could go outside of North America. Where would it be?
Right now. Like,
yeah.
if I
right now, if you're packing your bags right now.
So, as much as I'd like to say Israel, I kind of want to go to China.
China?
Yeah.
Why China? Okay, this is going to start another thing.
I don't know.
said South
random.
America, and you're like, no, China.
I'm just random. But so China or Peru? I don't know.
Okay.
One of the two. They're completely opposite sides of the world.
Okay.
But that's okay. What about you?
Okay, so I think I'd go with Israel. I think I would. Israel, and then follow in the footsteps of Jesus, see what he saw. I think that's the way to go. Next time, it would be probably maybe Turkey, because that's where a lot of church history happened.
Next time we talk about this, who knows? My mind could be changed on where I'd go.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to explain myself eventually when it comes to why I'd pick China or Peru. Because they're completely opposite sides of the world.
Yeah.
There's two different reasons. But
we're not going to get into that because that's going to be a whole new topic. But anyways, it was good talking with you, Frank. And
it was excellent talking to you. Well, let's go check some cows.
You betcha.